The hottest summer on record had limped into autumn drought. The leaves hadn't changed colors, they were just falling off the trees like afterthoughts. The last colors of the sky were being drained at sunset. The three of us lay in the middle of the big, round blue trampoline. We were spotting the baby, who was bouncing on her bottom in the center. The movement gave the big, round blue trampoline a slight ripple effect, as if we were floating somewhere in the middle of the ocean. A Pacific Ocean, with patchy trees overlooking. Eudora's mother was inside. I could see her silhouette hobbling around in the kitchen. She had turned on a light. "Mama hurt her foot, you know," Eudora said. The young girl wore octagonal-shaped black plastic glasses that slid down her nose. "I know," Anne said. "How's she feeling?" "It doesn't hurt," she said. "It's just hard for her to drive." Anne got distracted as the baby toppled over, giggling. "You silly baby," she said, sitting Percy up. Eudora echoed, "You silly baby." I was laying on my back, watching the sky go black. It was the end of September. "Where do you go to school?" I asked Eudora. I'd assumed she went to the neighborhood school, Sylvan Heights. I wondered if it were any good. School was still several years away for Percy, and we were already looking for a bigger house in a better neighborhood, probably out west in Burnham Wood, but I still wondered. She didn't go to Sylvan Heights. "I go to St. Augustine's," she explained. "It's Catholic, but we're not Catholic." "You're not?" I said, thinking she'd respond, but she didn't. The baby was bouncing again. Anne lay down, and Eudora followed suit. Anne asked about St. Augustine's, Eudora's teachers, her favorite subjects. She said she liked learning about animals. My attention drifted with the darkness. It had been a terrible summer. The grass was brown. The creeping juniper I'd planted on the bank had crept to death. The city council had passed an ordinance prohibiting watering on pain of a $500 fine. The houses in Burnham Wood had spectacular lawns, golf course lawns, chemical green. But then they weren't on city water. I wouldn't have minded a little green. It was depressing coming home after work to a stubbly dirt patch that looked like Tobacco Road. And Sylvan Heights was such a shithole, no place to raise a kid. It was a decaying working-class neighborhood with no sidewalks and parked cars crowding the street to a single lane. Atop the bank was a side track that belonged to Southern Rail. A freight train passed twice a day, shaking the little shoebox houses to their foundations. The engineer was supposed to slow down for a residential zone, but never did. The time had come for us to get out. The leaves circled to the ground, spinning like tiny parachutes. Anne was asking Eudora about the nuns. Are they nice, or are they mean? Oh, nice, Eudora said. I have one teacher named Sister Mary Dominic, and another named Sister Dominic Mary. How do you tell them apart? I asked. Sister Mary Dominic wears glasses. She teaches math. Is she your favorite? Anne asked. No, I like Sister Dominic Mary. In winter she wears red long johns under her robes. She teaches us about the animals. Animals? I didn't want to start that again, but it was too late. Eudora cried, Let's play the animal game. Can I go first? Okay, Eudora, Anne said. She was absent, lost in the baby. You go first. All right, Eudora said, pondering excessively. Percy would be a bunny. Did you hear that, Percy? Anne murmured. You'd be a bunny. Eudora continued. And Anne would be an owl. Because of her glasses? I asked. Eudora seemed proud of the fact that she wore glasses like Anne. No, she shook her head. Because she stays up nights. Before I could respond, she eyed me oddly. You'd be a wolf. A wolf? You just look like one, she said. We're studying them in school. A strange child, I was thinking, in a strange land. What would you be, Eudora? Anne asked. She thought about it hard, said, with utter conviction of an 8-year-old, I'd be a dolphin. A dolphin. That was Eudora. Not sure why I was a wolf. Maybe she needed a father figure. The closest thing she had was Maple, a coffee-coloured drag queen who sublet the attic apartment from her mother. Maple came and went in a gold cougar that she worked on in the driveway. There were lots of comings and goings at that house. But Maple seemed more of a stable presence than Eudora's mother. Anne and I speculated darkly when strange cars would pull into the driveway, headlights filling our bedroom window at strange hours. Well, we wouldn't be exposed to the local colour when we moved out to Burnham Wood. Though I wouldn't have minded hearing more about Maple, Anne steered the conversation back to a safe subject. Eudora, she asked, do you ride a bus to school? No, Mama drives. Must be hard for your mum to drive, I said with her foot. Eudora's mother had been in an orthopedic boot for what seemed like months now. I'd watch her silhouette hobble around the kitchen or putter around with her lifeless plants on her back porch. I had only seen her from a distance, waved that distant neighbourly wave. She was 40-ish, with long, dark, straight, hippie girl hair streaked with grey. She was skinny, shriveled, like those plants dying on her porch. Mama drives, Eudora whispered conspiratorially, but she can't drive on the highway. Why not? I asked. The baby toppled over again, squealing. The baby loved the trampoline, and the baby loved Eudora. Anne set her upright, and the baby, tired of bouncing, just stared at Eudora. Somebody's looking at you, Eudora, Anne said. Hello, Percy, Eudora replied, like a little adult making an acquaintance. Percy stared at Eudora, one of those riveting baby stares. Percy's my best friend, Eudora said. Do you hear that, Percy? Anne said. Eudora's your best friend. Why doesn't your mother drive on the highway? I asked. Eudora whispered even lower. She's afraid of police. Why? Anne asked, trying not to sound suspicious. The baby started bouncing again. The trampoline rippled under us like an incoming tide. I don't know, Eudora whined. Let's play the animal game. Okay, I said, pushing her, but first tell us why. My imagination mushroomed, but Eudora said, she's afraid she'll get a ticket. For speeding? I asked. No, she drives too slow, Eudora replied, pushing her glasses back up her nose. She's afraid to go fast. She got a ticket for driving too slow. She shook her head yes, and added solemnly, she doesn't drive on the highway. The colour was now almost gone from the sky, which had turned a last pearly grey at nightfall. There were still a few leaves, but it was getting too dark to watch them fall. The baby stopped bouncing, and everyone got quiet. Soon Eudora's mother would call her in, and we would carry the baby back to the house and get ready for bed. We knew it was time to go, but the undulant ripple of the trampoline held us, a kind of weightlessness, like it was too much effort to return to the solidity of ground, like astronauts after they return from space. It felt like we would be losing something we would never get back. The silhouette of Eudora's mother appeared in the window, hobbling around. "So, what happened to her foot?" I asked. "It's broken," Eudora said. Anne shot me a glance through the darkness to cool it. Maybe it was the wolf in me, but I continued. "So, how'd she break it?" "She was teaching me cartwheels, but landed wrong." "That must have hurt," Anne said. "She had to go to the hospital. Maple took her." Eudora sighed. "Can we play the animal game?" The devil in me asked, "What animal would Maple be?" Anne's eyes glinted sharply through the darkness, and I backed off. A pair of wings flapped percussively overhead, low. "Listen," Eudora said. "A bird." "That's not a bird," I said, at the form zigzagging above us. "What is it?" Anne asked. "A bat," I said. "No, it's not," Eudora insisted, huddling toward Anne. Anne held Percy close and draped a protective arm around Eudora. Scared, Anne scolded me. "You're scaring her." "It's a bat," I said. "It won't hurt anyone." It flapped wildly, even lower. We flattened ourselves on the trampoline. "I'm afraid," Eudora said, snuggling deeper into Anne. "Be still," I said to everyone. "It'll go away." The bat flapped around, idiotically lost. It swooped down close, and I shielded Anne, the baby, and Eudora with my body. A leaf parachuted down in the darkness, landing on the trampoline. Eudora jumped, shrieking. Anne tried to hold her, calm her. I crawled off them, feeling in the darkness for the leaf. It crunched under my hand and said, "It's just a leaf." But it was too dark to see. Darkness, silence. The flapping had stopped. "Eudora," I said, "you scared it away." "Really?" she said, rising from the trampoline, her glasses smushed to her face. Percy started fussing, a confused mix of gurgle and cry. Anne loosened her grip, and baby talked to calm her. "Is it gone?" Anne asked me. We listened to the darkness. "Must be," I offered weakly. It was past time to go in, but no one moved, even as the silhouette solidified in the kitchen window. Eudora fought the inevitable. "Let's play the animal game." Anne tried to sit up, but Eudora held her down. "Not yet," she begged. "Can I ask a question?" "We're not playing the animal game," I said. "It's not that," she said, her voice hollow. "When are you moving?" "We don't know," Anne said. We did know. Our lease was up at the end of the year. "Where are you going to move?" she asked. "We're looking," Anne said, "in a neighborhood called Burnham Wood." "Is it far?" Eudora asked. Her face collapsed in shadows. "Not too far," I said, knowing it was, especially if you didn't drive on highways. Eudora turned to Anne, her shadow combining with the baby's. "Can I visit you in your new house?" "Of course, Eudora," Anne said. "And you'll visit me? We can play on the trampoline." "Of course," Anne repeated, a little less convincing. It was dark now. As the light gave out, everything returned to shadow. Once we moved out to Burnham Wood, we wouldn't see Eudora again. We wouldn't sit on the trampoline, play the animal game. She'd grow up with her mother and Maple, and one day we might happen to run into her on the street or in a restaurant or at the movies, and there would be an odd, faintly recognizable young woman with glasses and long, dark, hippie hair like her mother's, and there would be a twinge of recognition before we both moved on. And back at home we'd say, "Was that Eudora?" I said, "Who wants to play the animal game?" "I do." Eudora beamed so that I could almost see her face. "But this time," I said, "everybody chooses what animal they're going to be. Anne, you go first." Anne wrangled the baby in the dark. "I'm a mama kangaroo and this is my baby." "A baby kangaroo is a joey," Eudora corrected. "Sister Dominic Mary taught us." "I like that," Anne said. "Percy is a joey." No, Eudora insisted. "She's got to be something different." "Anne," I prompted. Anne picked Percy up and whooshed her up above her head in the darkness. The baby squealed. "Percy is a June bug, and it's time for her to fly away home." We all laughed, and the trampoline vibrated beneath us. This vibration felt universal. Surely it extended all the way to Burnham Wood. "What about you, Eudora?" she hemmed. "I don't know," she hawed. "I want to be a kangaroo." "You can be a kangaroo," Anne offered. "No, I can't," Eudora replied, her voice sounding almost adult. "What animals are you studying in school?" I prompted. I looked down at the kitchen window and noticed that the silhouette had disappeared. I know, Eudora said. "I want to be the wisest animal in the forest. You know who that is?" "Who? Who?" I said, pretending I didn't know the joke. Eudora giggled. "He doesn't know," she said to Anne. "Does he?" "Who? Who?" Anne hooted. "Do you hear that, Percy? Who? Who?" Eudora laughed. "He doesn't know." I could feel the ripples on the trampoline. "No, he doesn't," Anne said. More ripples. "Who?" I said, pretending to be angry. "Who?" "It's an owl," Eudora shouted. "It goes who? Who?" I was gloriously defeated. "An owl! You guys are too smart for me." Our laughter broke, subsided, and the ripples rode into their rest. An arc of light appeared from the back door of the house. Eudora's mother appeared, backlit, too dark to see her face. "Dory!" the voice called. It wasn't her mother. "Supper time." "Just a minute," Eudora begged. "Food's getting cold. It's time." It was a smooth baritone voice, like honey from the rock. Definitely no bullshit. Definitely Maple. "We're playing a game," Eudora pleaded. "We're almost finished." Maple didn't address us. We didn't seem to exist. "Dory!" he called again, imperturbably, in a godlike voice beyond gender. "Too late for games. Come in." She whispered in the dark to me, "What would you be?" I didn't want to disappoint Eudora, but I didn't want to aggravate Maple. "Me?" I said, finding my feet on the trampoline. I tucked my arms like wings and smacked them against my sides. Flap, flap, flap. I'd be a bat. I swooped down, giving the trampoline a big bounce. "Careful," Anne said. But the baby was giggling in the dark, and Eudora was too. The trampoline rippled into stillness. I looked down to the house, the arc of light at the back door, and noticed that Maple hadn't moved an inch, but was still standing there, filling the doorway, his body stiff, her face in shadows, like a moon in eclipse.